What's going on, everyone? Gilman with the Wellthy Stocks, back with our daily NIO update video, ticker symbol NIO, where we take a look at how NIO stock traded today, key levels of support and resistance that we are looking at moving into the future, and based on that, what we think NIO stock could do. So real quick, if you enjoy videos like this, don't forget to hit that like button down below, subscribe to my channel if you are new, and comment down below what your thoughts on NIO are, and I'd love to chat with you guys down there. So let me pull up NIO's chart for us real quick, and I will go ahead and hit record. So another bad day for the markets, you guys, another bad day for NIO. We are not doing too well this week. You know, a lot of selling off, a lot of overall just red days that we've seen. So a couple reasons for that. First reason, and I don't think this is actually the reason, but GameStop's taken off again, so maybe some money movement going there, maybe some short covering there, but it's not nearly as bad as it was last time. The actual reason is actually this 10-year treasury yield reaching its highest level in a year, right? This article talks about it in more detail, but if you are interested in reading up on it, you know, feel free to read up on this article, but I'm going to explain why that's, you know, a little bit problematic. So the treasury yield a couple months ago was yielding half of what it is right now. Today it crossed 1.6%. And what that means is, look, on the S&P 500, the dividend yield is around that, right? 1.5%. So for an investor that's looking to get that dividend yield, now I understand that, you know, if you're investing in the S&P 500, you're not doing so for the dividend, you're doing it for the growth. But from a purely yield perspective, if the US Treasury bond, which is effectively risk-free, can offer you the same percentage return as you can get from investing in the S&P 500, which, although very diversified and relatively safe compared to buying any individual stock, is still inherently risky. So 1.5%, 1.6%, or 1.5% dividend yield on the S&P 500, that's why a lot of investors are actually taking money and putting it into the bond market because they're getting similar yields over there. And valuation concerns have been, you know, hitting the stock market for a little bit now. And so we're seeing, you know, some of that play out. So that's the reason for this downfall, you guys. That's the reason why we had a decent down day today. And so let's talk now about, you know, levels of support, levels of resistance, how we've traded, and then we'll see. So actually, another thing that I wanted to quickly cover is Li Auto, which is another Chinese electric vehicle maker, had the report earnings today and reported a profit today, but still fell. So if we take a look at Li for today, right, they were down about 9.8% on the day, which is pretty darn close to NIO, which was down 9.74%. Now, NIO is supposed to report a 7-cent loss. So even though, you know, Li Auto had a profit, they fell either way. So that does worry me just a little bit. Now, I don't think that it was necessarily Li selling off. I think it was the overall market sell-off that had a little bit to do with that, but still something to keep in mind, right? So let's take a look at indexes. NASDAQ was down about 3.5%. Dow Jones was down 555 points, another 73 points in the after hours. So not looking too great there. That's 1.74%. And then let me hit the S&P 500. Okay, sorry about that. Here we go. So we're down about 2.5% there as well, a little more in the after hours. So compared to all of that, right, NIO was relatively weak, not looking too great, right? We're down about 9.7% in the day and another 1.3 in the after hours. So over a 10% drop on the day, and things are not looking too good for the overall market. Remember that we are approaching kind of oversold levels on NIO, so anything below 30 is considered oversold. We are at 34, so pretty darn close to that as well. Now let's take a look at our, you know, daily, you know, kind of how it traded throughout the course of the day. So yesterday I don't know what that was. Sorry about that. Yesterday we closed near the 51s, the high 51s. And, you know, we were kind of hanging out around there, and then pre-market we pushed up and it looked like it was going to be a fine day. And then we started selling off, and then at the beginning of the day we try to break right into this 51.85 level, but we're not able to. So we sold off, VWAP rejected, and then kept going. And remember that, you know, once we rejected this, that's not a good sign, and below VWAP is also not a good sign. So then we start looking at our next levels of support. First of which was at 49.05, which we got a bounce from, but then VWAP was coming up, rejected, broke below, and then tried hitting up against it, went down to our 48.09 level. As you can see, we hung out there, went down, bounced, hung out there, went down, bounced off of our 47 level, hung out at our 48 level, and then came right back down and broke below this one as well, and then bounced off of our 46 level. 46.23 was our level. 46.01 is where we got the bounce, about 22 cents off, and then we pushed up into the close. So as you can see, not a great trading day for NIO, but if you had these levels, right, you could definitely take advantage of some of them, where we got, you know, support, resistance, support, and then pushed into the close. Overall, you know, NIO has not been doing too well. You know, same thing with Tesla, Palantir, a lot of stocks I cover really have not been doing too great as of late. And I think that, you know, a lot of that comes down to the market kind of rotation that's happening, but also what we saw with the, you know, bond yields rising. So let's take a look at future levels of support. Future levels of resistance, we'll focus on the EMAs and try to see if we can maybe get an indication of where we're headed next. So if we head down, the first level of support we have is that 46.23 level that we saw the bounce coming from today. If we don't get that, we have run room all the way down to the 42.38. So those are the levels that I'm looking at. If we head down, remember that we were there 2 days ago. We went all the way down to 41.66. So it definitely is possible on the horizon, right? Again, the 46.23 is the first level, and then 42.38 is the second level I'm watching on the downside. On the upside, right, we've got these little levels that we broke through today, which were the you know, 47.30s, the 48.09, the 49.05, and then the 51.85 if we can crack into the 50s, which is pretty much, you know, all the levels that we went through today. So on the upside, again, those would kind of be the 1, 2, 3, 4 that I'm watching on the upside. So where are we headed next? Let me get rid of these drawings and let me bring out the EMAs, because I think that they paint a pretty nice picture. So yesterday we bounced off of the 89 EMA, but unfortunately with the price action today, we've now broken and closed below the 89 EMA, right? So I want to go back and see, we can't really see any other time where we close below the 89 EMA. That tells you how much we've sold off in just the past couple of days, about 2 weeks or so, right? 2 days ago, yesterday we bounced off the 89 EMA. 2 days ago we were below the 89 EMA, but if you take a look here, it's a green candle, which means we closed right there in the 49s, which is higher than the 47 of the 89 EMA. Remember that today we are closed at 46.81 and the 89 EMA was 47.46. So that's sort of what worries me, is we are now closing below the 89 EMA. So let's talk the good thing and the good side and the bad side. Good news is, I mean, we are approaching oversold levels, so hopefully we see some buying coming in soon. But that being said, we are below the 89 EMA at the 47.46. So it's really important for NIO either tomorrow, sometime next week, to capture this 89 EMA, get above it, and then we can, you know, get that level as a little bit of a support, bounce off of it, and push up towards the 55 exponential moving average at the 52.49 level, right? So again, my goal for NIO would be to capture 47.46 and make a push towards the 52 level. The reason that I'm not certain the sell-off is done, you guys, is, I mean, take a look in the after hours, we're still selling off just a little bit, but also because if you take a look at the S&P 500, right, there's been a couple times when we've bounced off of the 34 exponential moving average, here, a couple times if we go back. If not, we have run room down to the 55 EMA like we did back in late January 29 to be exact. So we didn't bounce at the 34 exponential moving average, so we have run room down all the way to the 55 exponential moving average, which is about $4 away, which is about 1.5% down. So I think either tomorrow we see a push towards the 34 exponential moving average, which is a 383.30s, or we drop to the 55 exponential moving average. So I think come tomorrow, it'll be a really interesting time to you know, see if it tries to make a push up, get back to the 34 moving average like we bounced here, or if we're going to drop like we did back here to bounce off of that 55 exponential moving average. So that's why I'm not 100% certain if the sell-off is done. As you can see, you know, down 1% in some after hours. But for NIO, I think it's really important to, you know, get above the 89 EMA, 47.46, and run up. Remember that, you know, Li Auto had a great earnings profit, right, which was a surprise, but still sold off because the markets were weak. So I don't necessarily know if we're going to get a run into earnings tomorrow, right? It's only one day. hopeful for it, right? Because I own NIO shares, but if we're being realistic, right, I think the market is very choppy right now and in a very kind of tough spot, if you will. So it'll be really interesting to see how this plays out, where we find support. It's been pulling back for a few kind of weeks now, NIO, not the market. So I think that, you know, we are hopefully due for a bounce, right, approaching that oversold levels. So hopefully we get that soon, but I'll keep you guys posted. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, don't forget to drop a like down below, subscribe to my channel if you are new, comment down below what your thoughts on NIO are, and I'd love to chat with you guys down there. Let's remember to be a bit better every single day, and until next time.